Hey guys, it's John with National Sports Entertainment, and I wanted to go into tonight's game with the Chargers Dolphins, our day in general, and then I thought this was a good video, especially we have a lot of new people tailing us. So all streaks must come to an end. We had an 8-0 streak rolling into NFL Sunday, where we had hit the last 8 games dating back to the 4 o'clock games of last week. And then we had a really bad NFL day, to be quite honest. And the reason I say all streaks must come to an end is a lot of times that's a new streak can be born. And it was pretty funny. I'm going to go over what happened yesterday, but we didn't do that good in football. With the Chargers win, we probably finished closer to like 500. But we did sweep the NBA games. We ran every single one of them. We played like 6 or 7 and just hit every one. So that was nice. That's the reason I like the system. It does seem that when we're off with football, we are just on with basketball and vice versa. But yeah, so we'll go into the NBA. Will be quicker. And it's funny. Maybe I should just start picking with intuition. With these games, I was not. This was when I did my live video, so you can watch it. I was asked a couple times, and after reluctantly just picking the Knicks a couple times, just saying, I'm just going to play the Knicks, I was like, all right, you know what, let's play. And we just listed a Pelicans, Lakers, Knicks, Magic, Sixers, Rockets. Hawks was the only one we did not play. But the glances that I liked was, I told you guys about 14-13. To me, 14-13 and 14-11 made more sense than 15-10 and 13-14. I know that sounds goofy, but yeah, that's my logic here. I think the Knicks also improved the 13-14 on the spread. I'm telling you guys, they love this damn number. I think the same thing happened with the Magic. I think they are now 13-14 on the spread, and you can see the record that put Toronto at 13-14. So I don't love numbers, numerology, gematria, but when it happens to fit other metrics, like the fact that nobody was going to take the Knicks in this game, and things of that nature, then I start to like them more. But yeah, we covered, Lakers covered. Like I said, Lakers funny. Just the one thing I noticed, so I went off of this. The Lakers are 11-15. They're also 11-15 against the spread. That's not a coincidence. They just happen to, they literally, every game they've won, they've covered. And all their covers have been in winning fashion, which is very interesting. We picked the Rockets as a potential upset. We took the spread, but they actually wound up winning outright, which is interesting because people were bringing up the death of Paul Silas. I think Griner played for Houston. So there were some interesting things that that they won. That's why I liked them in the Magic with the spread. I thought they'd be faded. And we got the Sixers. So we just ran the table with NBA. And I only bring it up because, as you know, my channel is about the narratives, and we're going to get into that right now with the Chargers. But just as important is the money management, which I'll go into in a little bit if you haven't really been familiarized with that aspect. But for the night game, luckily I've had a narrative over the AFC East. I've been pretty on point with them as I have with the Chargers. And I think it's, luckily I was able to see the fake Tua injury before it happened, so they were kind of talking it up. And then he got, quote, injured. And then it was really obvious to see what they were going to do. As I said to multiple people that were really, and understandably so, giving me a hard time about this pick, it's not about Chargers being a better team. It's not about any of that. It's the fact that now you got 8-5, 7-6. It just makes the division, it makes the conference way more interesting. And furthermore, so we had a lot of games this week that were narrative versus trap. Meaning on one side, I liked the narrative. But at the same time, I'm like, but the public's probably going to be on this team. Well, in this game, that wasn't the case because I thought the narrative fit the Chargers, but I can't imagine the public was on the Chargers either. So we had both going for us. That's why I'll like some games more than others. But the reason I liked this one was because they've been doing this for weeks. Actually, they've been doing it since his second or third win at home, saying how Tua is garbage on the road. And this week was interesting because they didn't actually say it, but the same guys that said he was garbage on the road earlier this year, I think it was Tirico and Collinsworth, they were saying, can't do it. He's so much better at home. Let's look at the difference. You know how they show like the efficiency differences? Well, tonight the same guys are like, or last night I guess, what's going on with Tua? How come he's not playing so well? He doesn't look the same as last year. So it's kind of weird. They went from the sucks at home narrative to just, or I'm sorry, sucks on the road narrative to just sucks in general narrative. I don't think that's it. I think he just, if we look at his numbers, this man does ridiculous at home. Trying to see if I can get a split stat on him at home. It's really revealing. So if we look, we got at Niners, at Chargers. He had not such good games, right? And then you go down before that to Texans, Browns, and I understand they're shittier teams, but still, you see these games are at home, no interceptions, way more yards. So it's not. Look at his rating. I just think it's something they've been pushing for a while. It's not that's just the last 5 games, but they've been pushing it all season. So I think a lot of people just not overlooked it, but that was something that I made sure to consider because I feel like everyone was going to be fading the Chargers as it was, and it just made sense to me that Tua plays shitty on the road. He has another road game, by the way. I think they'll lose that too. I think they dropped to 8-6. And then they're going to win out the last 2 or 3 at home because they play until Week 16 on the road. And I made this prediction a few weeks ago. I said I wouldn't be surprised if they lost their road stand. I think it just, again, I think he's 8-1 as a starter at home, and now he's 0-4 on the road. So I think they're going to continue that narrative, which is going to help us picking Dolphins going forward. So for the rest of the schedule, I feel like we had a decent read. So on some of these games, as I said, you have a game that has a trap and a narrative. Sometimes you have them conflicting. So a good example would be probably this Giants game. Definitely this Seahawks game. So here's a perfect example. Here, if you go down, you see the spread is 3.5. So the trap would point towards, I would usually love Carolina here, right? So why'd I go Seattle? Well, I thought this was a casualty game. Don't forget, public gets paid on more than half the games, believe it or not. If you look at the games, public gets paid on more than half. They don't care about how many games you win. They care about how many dollars they take from you. So they're going to do things like parlay killers, and they're going to set up traps. But not every game is going to be one. So I thought, okay, we're Carolina, Seattle. No one's going to care about this game when you got the Bucs going on. You got the Chiefs going on. So this will be the casualty game. They need Seattle to win to keep them up there with Washington and with New York. And I feel like a pounding from Geno Smith will remind people that the Seahawks are a team to be messed with. That was the narrative. Obviously, the trap was the fact that Seattle should have been given about 4 to 6 points here, not 3.5. It did move to 4, I think, but it should have been closer to 6 at home against the Panthers. So that one, you get these ones that conflict, and that happened with unusually a lot of games this week. You could say this is another one where 5.5. It looked 4. It moved to 4. Looks pretty good for Cincinnati. But then you got the narrative of Deshaun Watson. What do they do with him? So we missed that one too. We missed, a good bit. Here is another one with a lot of points. I always seem to when I'm given 14 or more this year, and I bet these games, I pick the team with the points. They get creamed. I pick the team to cover. They don't. So it's weird. But clearly they weren't going to pay out, and I just noticed this 1-1-1-1. I swear, I'm sure a lot of you guys will agree with me. If you noticed that sooner yourself, you would have put your house on the Cowboys just to win, because they're not going to pass up an opportunity to let them go 1-1-1-1. But and I just noticed that. But what's interesting is, again, they're not going to pay out the money line on the Texans fans, or people who pick Texans at 15-1. So they make them look really good, and at the very end, the Cowboys do that cover. Or not cover, they win. So they bust up the cover, and then they get their win. Now, the Jags we got right for a change, which is astounding because we usually always get the AFC South wrong. I just thought more people would be on the Titans. And this one, to me, there was no research. There was no analytics. There was literally this line, and then I had to laugh for about 5 minutes, and then I was able to compose myself and lock in my bet because I don't know how they ever tried to sell us on this. Tell me this makes sense in any bizarro world. I just don't understand it. I don't care if you're on the road. If you suck, you suck. And they don't suck, obviously. They're trying to show people lines are better than people think. It's just, you can give me the any given Sunday thing. You can say Kirk Cousins is inconsistent. This team would not be 10-3 if they weren't incapable of just rolling the Lions. And I didn't watch the game, but, a lot of the same shenanigans. Couple, 3-and-outs. Then you have just stupid sacks being taken. So we got that one. And we got the Jets, which I'll take. Usually we lose in this fashion, where we're like winning all game and then something weird happens at the end. That happened with the Chiefs, by the way. We had that all game and then bam. Here we had the Jets, and here is another one where I thought, to be honest, generally I would take Buffalo minus 10. I thought 10 was too much. Not too much. I just thought it was too appealing for the Jets. And I'm thinking too many people are going to be on that. Kind of like the Giants. I was a little split. So we did wind up splitting the ones that I was split on with the Jets and Giants. But yeah, the Jets did not look great in this game. They made a point of injuring Mike effing White. There goes that push. What a great push. And it is like I thought. I went over last week in my playoff video how I thought, and I could be wrong, but I think this is setting up a Joe Flacco return. So if the Jets get in the playoffs, they play Baltimore, Flacco versus Baltimore. You can already see some of these games, developing. So yeah, those were all the rivalry games, and then to cap off like the rivalry games, I guess we'll go into the Bucks too. Giants Eagles. Here's another thrashing, and I think this gives us a good look into next week. Dallas barely beat the Texans, and the Eagles thrashed the Giants at home. Now they play each other. Washington had a bye. Giants didn't look too good. Now they play each other. Knowing these things is going to really help us, especially when we get to the final weeks of the season, and we know they have to have certain teams win and lose for a playoff berth. But yeah, so in this one, we had the Giants. We thought, at least I thought, they're going to make this division look strong. Having the Giants win makes sense. But I noticed they've been trading wins. Again, Commanders beat Eagles. Eagles beat Giants. So do Giants beat Commanders? They've been doing that kind of stuff all year. But I can say, if the playoffs started today, my NFC East Beast theory is now official. With the Seahawks loss, the Commanders flipped them. I thought so. Anytime you see a tie, it's usually going to be important. So yeah, the Colts got a tie. That probably won't be important, but this tie, I guarantee you, is going to be the reason Seattle gets kicked out of the playoffs. It's going to be 11-5-1 versus 11-6 in my opinion. So that's just what I see happening. But yeah, like I said, the most important thing I wanted to go into, I was going into the money management aspect, is we did not have a great day. Our start was abysmal. But just because people understand like how I pick and things like that, people just tailed, and we did really, really good. So as you can see, I had started the Lions. That was our leg 2. It was one from yesterday that did not hit. We went with the Lions leg 2. They're all in here, but that covered for us, and so did the Chiefs Broncos over. That was because we played the Bills Chiefs over, the Bills Jets over, and that missed. And you can see we missed the Browns cover, but we made it up on the Lakers. We missed the Giants cover, but we made that up on the Knicks. We missed the Texans cover. That's the only one I haven't opened up a second leg for yet. And every one of these wins is one unit. We lost the Steelers cover, but we got that back with the Dolphins. Got the Jags right away, got the Jets right away. And as I said, we ran the basketball table, so we took the rest of the basketball games. So we won 11 units today, believe it or not, and that is with a average to below average record in the NFL. And that's the only reason I say it, because there are weeks I'm going to be off. And when that happens, we can still win money. It's not about, hey, I'm going to pick 70% every week. We have been good. We've been around 60. This week we were below 50. I think we right now we're 6-8 or something like that. It just wasn't a great week at all. But like I said, we went 6-0 in the NBA. Maybe it was a coincidence, but maybe we keep our streak going in the NBA. Maybe we're seeing a lot of stuff. But I think just playing the metrics long term is the best thing that I try and explain to people, because we only need to. So for every 7 wins, right? Lions, that's a win. Broncos, that's a win. Lakers, there's a win. Knicks. For every 7 win, you can lose 3 in a row. So say we were to have lost the Chargers, right? So we lost the Browns, we lost 44. We lost the Ravens cover that lost, and let's say the Chargers lost, and then we pick another team and that one loses tomorrow. Even with those 3 losses, betting 1, 2, and 4 units, we still profit with all these other games we played today. So that didn't happen, obviously, but I was just wanting to explain that even if we had lost a 3-legger today, we still would have finished in the green for today alone. And this puts us over 40 units since last Sunday when we started. So again, the reason I like to go into it, especially after not so good days, is to show people, A, we don't have to be perfect. It's about money management. And B, even if we are off, we usually finish strong. I don't know what it is, but we usually finish pretty strong. In between the NBA and the night game, I'd say we finished pretty strong, just popping 7 in a row after a really rough start, to be quite honest. So, yeah, I can go into more games. If you guys were curious about certain narratives, I can certainly go into them. Now I think we have such a better idea of the playoff picture, and I'll be able to go into tomorrow's game. Because, again, here's one that has ramifications for both sides. I do think it makes more sense to have the Cardinals lose than the Patriots. A Cardinal win does not really keep them in much, as you can see. It would take some unbelievable things to happen, whereas a Patriots win makes it incredibly interesting. So right now I am leaning them, and I think it'd be fitting if Belichick won in the home of the Super Bowl, because that's just something I feel like they would do for him. So yeah, I do find that that game coming up interesting. I think the push on Cardinals is done for the year, but we can go more into that and the NBA tomorrow. I really more wanted to go into where we were off today, which narratives I think we were off on, which guys I think we have a good read on, like Tua, and just, how an average day basketball helping out really helps. And this also is, a lot of people joined the Discord recently, and, I know it can be an annoying app, it's kind of stupid, but I made it because it's fun way for us to kind of think tank stuff, and, people joined and they're like, man, I'm not much for Discord, but this is cool because I can just get all my picks at once, or I can talk with somebody, or somebody gives somebody some information and it helps them make a live decision. There's always all kinds of stuff going on. So that's the only reason I always bring up the Discord. I brought it up in the live today. There's a lot of picks, including this 6 basketball games we just nailed, that I just don't have time to get out sometimes. I try to, but after the live video I didn't have time. So in the live video I covered it. So I did cover it in that video, but I put all that stuff in the Discord for a reason. That way anyone who missed it can kind of just pick it up. And I have a lot of people now copy and pasting for me, which I do appreciate. Makes it a lot easier. Believe it or not, writing out all these stupid little monotonous sequences is a pain in the ass, but I know seeing it organized better does help. So that's why I did that. But yeah, so I think we had a good, again, we did have a bad week betting, I'll have to be honest. A bad week picking. Did not do good in football, but with the basketball and the way we finished, I can't say, we didn't do well. We finished well. I don't want to lie to you guys. We finished up 11 units, but my reads were off on the NFL. I definitely hold that, and hopefully, like I said, we do even better next week. Imagine how good we would have done if we had both basketball and football, and that's the goal, is just to hit as many as possible, but close out these sequences. So I'll go into the Patriots tomorrow, and I know this is late. I just overslept the game, and I thought I'll put it out now for the insomniacs like me, because now I'm going to be up. I only slept about 3 hours, but it's actually a good thing when I watch these guys, they lose. When I go to sleep and stuff, they win. So, yeah, I woke up and figured I could put out my Monday video going into our recap. That way, tomorrow we're fresh and we can do the Patriots video. So, I'll be doing that. Probably not too long, but it won't be... I want to make sure there's no crazy line movement in the morning, and then I'm just curious as to who's playing and what the playoff pictures would look like if the Cardinals won before I completely decide to go with the Patriots. But I'll definitely go into that in a video. And thank you for everyone that always is showing support, especially in the live, the Discord. It really makes a difference. Today's live is one of the best, I think, because we were able to make a lot of late calls that helped people that were just kind of bouncing ideas. Again, the NBA really being one of them, and just some other games we were noticing. So I do appreciate everybody for that. So take care and happy earnings.